won't tolerate a fake what I made up history. If you like to where you're taking chances, she's blue, paranormal, searching for the truth. Is it a man in a mask who knows for a demon? What is it like? What is the reason? She is blue, paranormal.
Who was Bloody Mary? Well, there are a few options as to who we are chanting to in the mirror. The first would be Queen Mary I of England, firstborn daughter to Henry VIII and his wife Catherine of Aragon. On Henry's death, his only son, to Jane Seymour, Edward, became king. He became king at the age of 9 years. With Edward being so young, he had advisors, the King's Council and Northumberland. Now, Northumberland hurriedly married his son, Lord Guildford Dudley, to Lady Jane Grey. Lady Jane Grey was one of Henry VIII's great nieces and a claimant to the throne. Edward accepted Jane as his heir, and on his death from tuberculosis in 1553, Jane became queen. Lady Jane Grey only ruled for 9 days before Mary and her sister Elizabeth arrived in London and Lady Jane was deposed. Northumberland was tried for treason and executed. Mary took pity upon Jane and her husband, and she was actually allowing them to just live in the Tower of London as looked after prisoners. But later on, Jane did become a threat, so Mary did have Jane and her husband tried for treason and they were executed. Mary gained her nickname of Bloody Mary due to the fact that she ordered the death of Protestants, over 280 of them. Mary was a staunch Catholic and wanted to reinstall Catholicism to the country. She believed that burning these people at the stake would give them a taste of hellfire and that they would pray whilst dying to return to Catholicism. And that is how she got her nickname. The next on the list of possibilities is Elizabeth Báthory. She was a Hungarian countess. She was born in Hungary. Her family controlled Transylvania, and her uncle was King of Poland. Rumours of Báthory's cruelty began to surface. Her cousin, Georgi Thurzo, was ordered to investigate. The Count Palatine determined, after taking depositions from people living in the area surrounding her estate, that Báthory had tortured and killed more than 600 girls with the assistance of her servants. It is said that she would drain these young girls of their blood and bathe in it. The reason being, she believed their blood would keep her youthful and therefore more attractive. It's also said that she was the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula, along with Vlad the Impaler. So, on December the 30th, 1609, Báthory and her servants were arrested. She was never tried for her crimes. Instead, she was walled into a room in the castle with just 2 slits for air and food to pass through. She spent the remaining 4 years of her life there until she was found dead on the floor in 1614. The servants were put on trial in 1611 and all 3 were executed. And that brings us to Mary Worth. Now, there's 2 stories about Mary. Mary Worth was either a witch who was burnt at the stake for her crimes against young girls. It is said that Mary would kill these young girls, lure them to her cottage, kill them, and use their blood to keep her youth. And given the details, it's also awfully similar to that of the Blood Countess. The other story is that Mary Worth was a woman who would lure slaves to her home that were trying to escape the south via the Underground Railroad. Either way, both stories unsubstantiated. So do we really know who Bloody Mary is? No, not really. In my opinion, it's a mixture of all of these stories combined to come up with a scary person called Bloody Mary. Mirrors feature an awful lot in folklore and superstition. it was traditionally believed that mirrors reveal the future rather than present. The practice of divination through reflection was known as chiromancy and was often linked with witchcraft, especially in medieval Europe. Mirrors were also said to reflect a person's soul. So if you were to look in the mirror and a distorted reflection looked back at you, it meant that you had a corrupted soul. And those without souls, such as vampires, did not have reflections at all.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Historically, the divination ritual encouraged young ladies to walk up a flight of stairs backward, holding a candle and a hand mirror. And in a darkened house, as they gazed into the mirror, they were supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband's face. There was, however, a chance that they would see a skull or the face of the Grim Reaper. Instead, that would indicate that they were going to die before they would have the chance to marry. The Bloody Mary apparition allegedly appears as a corpse, or a witch, or a ghost that can be friendly or evil, or a demonic spirit, and it's sometimes seen covered in blood, hence the name Bloody Mary. The law surrounding the ritual states that the participants have to endure the apparition screaming at them, cursing them, strangling them, stealing their soul, drinking their blood, or scratching their eyes out. So, in order to get Bloody Mary to appear in the mirror, one has to do one simple thing. You either chant the words Bloody Mary 3, 7, 13, and some say 100 times in order to get her to appear.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
So folklore says that a mirror can reveal all of your lies and secrets. As I said before, it shows a true reflection of your soul. It is said, if you see Mary in the mirror and she knows your secrets, she will punish you. I suppose the moral of the story is to be good, don't tell lies, and don't look into a mirror and summon Mary. I think we can safely say that this is just a legend, it's just a story. Of course no ghosts or demons will appear in a mirror if you say Bloody Mary 3 times. Of course, even as adults, sometimes our minds play tricks on us.
Ah! You're not real.
And even though we're rational beings and understand there's nothing there, sometimes we do see things. However, there is a logical explanation for it. There is a phenomenon called the Troxler effect, where if you stare at the same object for a prolonged period of time, there comes a point where your brain adapts to it. And because it's not a changing stimuli, the neurons in your brain cancel out the information and the image often becomes blurry or faded. It can distort, and it will do that until you blink or you look around or you look away. And another part of the phenomenon is called the strange face in the mirror illusion. In 2010, a psychologist, Giovanni Caputo, conducted an experiment. He took 50 people. Each of those people were asked to go into a dimly lit room and look at their reflection in the mirror for 10 minutes. Out of those 50 test subjects, 66% of them reported seeing huge deformations of their face. 48% saw monstrous beings. Others described seeing the face of a parent or a deceased relative. Some saw animals, and some saw the face of a woman or a child. Humans in general have a pretty remarkable ability to see faces in everyday objects. We can look at a cloud and see a face. We can look between trees and see a face. So it makes sense that in dim lighting and staring at a mirror will create a visual trick. And in addition, if the image is distorted slightly, your brain draws from past experiences and expectations to fill the gaps. So, we have ruled out the presence of mirror monsters, but what about Bloody Mary? Can we actually rule out Bloody Mary? Well, so far as research goes, nobody has ever come forward to say that they've actually seen Bloody Mary in a mirror, or that anyone has had their eyes scratched out by Bloody Mary. So I think we can safely say it is a legend, it's still a game that kids play, and I think that's where we can safely leave it. Or can we? I hope you enjoyed the episode. Sleep well, and thanks for watching.